Welcome back to Streaming Media East 2018. I'm Tim Siglin, contributing editor with Streaming Media Magazine and the founding executive director of the not-for-profit Help Me Stream. I'm here today with John Landsman from Teradek. John, tell us first, you stepped in and sort of saved the day for us. Tell us what the issue was that we were facing earlier.
Well, what happens quite often when you get to a location that you have not scouted in the past, someone from IT will hand you an Ethernet cable and say, off you go, start streaming. What this provider forgot to mention is that it was a closed network that needed a password to get through their network in order to connect to the internet.
And it looked as if we were connected because we had an IP address.
Correct. And as you saw, you couldn't get out.
Right.
So the workaround that I was able to bring today was a new product that we've actually just released called the Link Pro, which is an aggregated cellular back end of a Wi-Fi network.
Ah, nice.
So what we actually did was bypass the internet that this location is provided and fed the cube encoder directly into the Link Pro over Ethernet that was then connected to the internet over multiple cell connections.
Oh, fantastic. Okay. Yeah. So essentially we're just completely bypassing the venue's connectivity.
Absolutely.
Is there a workaround though? I mean, as I was telling somebody earlier, is there a workaround like you go to a McDonald's or you go to a Burger King? Even in those places you have to click an I accept, the terms and conditions.
Splash screen we call it.
Right, a splash screen. Is there a workaround with devices these days, or is that still sort of in the future?
No, I have used in the past things that we call like a travel router, right? You can buy them, very inexpensively from Amazon, and basically what they are is a very small router that gives you that splash screen.
In fact, I have one of those up in my room because I have 3 devices I wanted to connect, and they connect through that.
So that device will give you the splash screen, and then your encoders, such as the cube, will then either Ethernet into that router or Wi-Fi into that router.
So just as a rule of thumb, it's always good to carry something like that so that you can get that midpoint access. Of course, assuming that you don't have your device, which is the cellular bonded back channel.
I would say that in the streaming world, you can never have enough backups, right? So you take your Army Swiss knife of tricks, you turn up at your location, and you pray to the gods of streaming that you actually have a device that's going to get you. Well, and we used to carry
kits of VGA adapters, RGB adapters. Correct. So essentially now what we're doing is carrying kits of connectivity adapters.
Absolutely.
Okay. So what else are you all showing here at the show?
Well, we're demonstrating basically 2 different solutions. One for contribution to a switcher, and one for distribution from a switcher.
Okay.
We are demonstrating the Bolt 10K, which is our latest in the line of uncompressed, zero-delay wireless transmitters.
Okay.
10,000 feet is a long, long way away. We were recently doing a shoot from a helicopter down to the ground into a switcher that they were switching with some other wireless cameras. So it really opens up the kinds of things that one can do. And being zero delay, it means that it stays in sync with all your wired cameras.
Okay.
So that's really what we're showing on the contribution side. Distribution, as I mentioned, we've released the Link Pro, which is again an agnostic Wi-Fi router with back-ended cellular bonding.
Bonds. Okay.
Right.
So that's cell muxing capability. What's the sort of standard output bandwidth from something like that? I've been seeing that we're getting approximately 35 to 40 megabits per second. Okay.
I've got in the bond that in the Link Pro that I have 2 Verizon radios, a Sprint radio, and an AT&T radio.
Okay.
That's giving me really good coverage.
All LTE.
Here. All LTE.
Okay.
I know that in New York, Verizon and AT&T are the 2 strongest.
Sure.
So I'll definitely lead with those SIMs. If I was going to Denver, for example, I know Sprint is really strong there.
Right.
So I'll turn up with some Sprint SIMs. We manufacture our own modems. These are called nodes.
Right, sure.
And if you were ever to look at a node, you'll notice something quite striking on them. That, as my Alabaman station called them, He says, man, you got some big ass antennas on that thing. So those big ass antennas mean that I can reach cell towers much further away than a typical USB modem.
And it's interesting that you say that, because several years ago at Streaming Media Europe, which is now Streaming Forum, we actually had a conversation around the Arab Spring and some of the problems that the news crews had that were carrying the backpack transmitters that had the USB modems right around the square. I think that was Tahrir Square in Cairo. There was blocking of the cell service, and there was a lot of overuse of the cell service on those towers, but those who had the ability to boost could actually jump to the next tower beyond, get the signal out. So essentially that's what you're giving the capability to do as well.
Yes. In fact, we have a US-based news organization, a three-letter news organization that has taken backpacks to Tehran, not our backpack, but another company's backpack, and the Iranian government knows of this company, has actually shut the ports down on the servers that they're using.
Wow.
So what they ended up doing was sneaking into the country a small cube with a single node.
That wasn't known at that point.
That wasn't known, and what we are doing is sending to a server in Germany that's then relaying to a server in New York that's then pushing to a decoder.
Right.
So we have some very clever tricks that we can do with our gear that we don't like to talk about. None of that's true. None of that's true.
Right, exactly.
It does not happen.
There are no VPNs coming out of Iran.
Yes.
All right. Well, John, thank you very much for your time.
My
Appreciate
pleasure.
it.
Thanks,
We'll
guys.
be right back.